board and asks you some questions. So, Andrea, do you want to introduce yourself, what your major was, maybe what some classes are that you took at NUS, and when you went also, which was a while ago.
It was a what? So my name is Andrea. I went to Singapore fall 2018. And when I was an undergrad, I was a polymer science major, and now I'm in grad school getting a PhD in polymer science as well. And what was I doing? So when I was in Singapore, I took 4 classes. 2 were language classes. I took Chinese, which I was also taking at CASE as well. And then I took Malay, which I took a very beginner level course. And then I took 2 material science classes as well. Would highly recommend the language classes. They were, especially the languages that you wouldn't normally get to take when you're over here. You get to meet a lot of people who are actually from there, and you get to actually use those languages while you were there. So I was studying Malay, and then when I went to Malaysia and Indonesia, I was able to actually talk to people, which is fun.
That's neat.
Yeah.
How did you find your classes academically? Maybe how they were different from here at CASE? You might not remember, but like office hours and testing and stuff like that.
Yeah. So language classes were pretty simple. They were very similar level to here. The science classes were a lot more difficult, I think. Everything there is graded on a bell curve, at least at NUS where I was at. Is everyone going to NUS?
Yeah.
Okay. So those classes were all graded on a bell curve, and we had, I think, 2 or 3 exams throughout the year, and then a final exam at the end of the year. That was a few, like 2 or 3 hours long. And I think we didn't really get assignments throughout the year, so you had to really keep yourself motivated, which is incredibly difficult to do. Sorry, my video is a mess. Very difficult to do while you're studying abroad and you're very distracted by a lot of different things. But I think for studying abroad, you just need to pass. So that took a lot of the pressure off. But I mean, you still want to be learning and trying hard and getting to know people in your classes. So yeah, the exams were quite difficult. I think it was mostly because you lose a lot of motivation to be studying while you're trying to travel and do fun things, but it's doable and everything is definitely passable. I think they're very nice to exchange students because they know you're just there to pass your classes. Which, yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was not always the best student while I was over there, but.
Hey, you're getting your PhD now, so.
Yeah, it worked out, yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about getting there? What you remember from orientation? Did you join any clubs, like getting involved with NUS's campus while you were there?
Yeah. So getting to campus when I flew in, I would definitely recommend downloading the app. I think it's called Grab. Let me just turn my video off. Sorry. Just frozen.
I can hear you, so that's
okay. Yeah. GRAB, Grab. Definitely recommend downloading that. It's when you. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, no, now you're good.
What was I saying? Yeah, just take a taxi when you get to the airport. It's a lot more simple than trying to figure out the subway system. Although it is incredibly easy to get around by subway, by bus when you're there. So getting a bus pass as soon as possible is definitely very important. And then orientation, join as many things as possible. There's so many exchange students there from all over the world. So you get to meet some really incredible people, and at orientation, they put you into different groups and you get to meet all sorts of people that aren't also in your program. And I think all the dorms, if you're not living in this regular student dorms, you're usually going to be put with other exchange students as well, which has its pros and cons. You're not actually getting to meet a lot of people from Singapore, but you are getting to meet people that you can travel with and share all sorts of experiences with. And then I joined the Frisbee team there, which was incredible. It was so much fun. I would highly recommend joining a club because it is very hard to meet people just in your classes. So that was definitely the best way I got to meet people. And then while I was in Singapore playing Frisbee, I got to travel all over Southeast Asia as well. Was there anything else there?
Asking about Frisbee clubs.
Was there really?
I don't think I knew that you were in a Frisbee club at NUS. I should have been.
Yes. So many people play. It was I was shocked. It was everywhere.
So can you talk about Singapore itself? How much food costs, traveling around the city, some of your favorite things that you remember doing?
Yeah. So food costs, the biggest expenses you're gonna have are flying there, and then the dorm costs. Everything else is going to be incredibly affordable, especially the meals on campus. I think you don't even spend $10 a day just paying for food when you're on campus. I maybe spent $3 a meal, and it was so good. And then even off campus, there's so many places that you can go that are very affordable as well. And then getting around Singapore is, as I said, it's super easy. Once you have a bus pass, you can go pretty much anywhere you want. You can go, oh, someone came and left. Pretty much from one end of Singapore to the other in maybe 2 hours taking the subway. It's really convenient. Yeah, I think once you're over there, the costs are fine. You're gonna find that it's a lot cheaper than being here in Cleveland, honestly.
What about traveling outside of Singapore? Yeah. Southeast Asia, did you fly around places?
Yeah, I actually flew a lot. So yeah, what I found when I combined the costs of everything from flying, from the housing situation, everything else was so cheap that with all the flights that I was taking still all over Southeast Asia, I think I still spent far less than I would have when I was still on CASE's campus. I definitely never spent more than $100 for a round trip to any of the other countries that I went to. You just have to keep your eyes open for deals, and I can't remember what I did for the flights.
What are some of the countries that you went to?
So it's super easy to go to Malaysia. You just get on a bus and go over. Indonesia, again, pretty easy to get to. I went to Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia for a weekend for a Frisbee tournament. So it was a little disappointing that I didn't actually get to explore there very much. Then I went to Hong Kong. And then I had a whole month after finals ended before I had to get back to CASE. And I went to Hong Kong again because I loved it so much. China, Japan. I said Vietnam already, but I went in that month afterwards.
What about laws, cleanliness?
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, you do hear a lot of people say things about the cleanliness and such for Singapore, and you can't eat or drink when you're on the subways or anything. Honestly, it's just a common courtesy. Don't use your common sense. Don't throw things on the ground. Don't litter. Like, there's no way you're gonna have a problem with it. It's just so much cleaner there. Like this, there's no litter, there's no trash on the ground. It's very nice.
I think I remember you saying you went to a networking event and met business owners. Can you talk about opportunities to meet business owners or expats or maybe internship ties or something, anything like that?
When I was in Singapore?
Maybe I'm making that up, but yeah, did you meet any like business owner types?
I feel like you're saying that and it's
For some
ringing a bell
reason,
and my
I
brain
remember
is not
like
connecting.
you being on
Yeah.
a panel and saying you were meeting these business owners and they were offering you internships, and it's so maybe
So that was from.
it's also a while, like I don't know.
Yeah, I met through the Frisbee team. I met some people who were in the polymer science industry, and they were the ones that I connected with them, and they introduced me to some people who I contacted about getting an internship later on. And that was actually in Germany instead, but I didn't end up, I got the position, but I didn't end up going. So that wasn't anything official. Yeah, you were right. That wasn't anything official, but it was, I mean, if you put yourself out there and you just don't say no to anything. I think that's my biggest piece of advice. Just put yourself out there, say yes to everything, and hopefully you'll meet some incredible people. You'll make really, really good connections, and maybe even have something like that where you create an internship for yourself. I had a lot of friends who were in the business department, and they made a lot of connections. That's a really, really good program. I don't know if anyone going is in the business world.
What about the island itself? People who like to hike, nature, beaches, what is there to offer? And how do you get there?
So the island itself does not have a lot of nature. The beach is actually completely man-made, which was shocking. I mean, it's so built up and commercialized. I guess it's a very, very modern city. But when you're actually there, there's not a lot of nature itself. There's a really small island that right off of Singapore that you can go and bike around. But if you're into hiking, you really need to go to Indonesia or Malaysia or Thailand even. There's a lot of climbing and hiking out there. Yeah, see, the city itself is not the best if you're into those kind of things.
So what about the international office? If you had questions, did you ever have to contact them with issues or problems? Were they responsive?
I never actually ended up having to talk to them. Because everything was so well organized and put together. I never had a problem with my visas, with being a student there, with being an international student over there. They have so many exchange students that they have this down really well. But I think if I did have a problem, because they're so on top of things, I don't think it would have been difficult to figure out whatever I had to figure out.
Did you have any hidden finds or something that you recommend everyone to do or go see while in Singapore? Favorite meal? Anything?
Yeah. Just go to what are they called? All of the markets. I'm blanking on the word. They show them in the Crazy Rich Asian when they go to the food market. The hawker centers. That's where I got the best food. Just go to them, get as much as you go with a group of friends, get as much food as you can, try everything. I think those were the best meals I had while I was over there.
I think Crazy Rich Asians came about after you went, right?
It was the first month I was there, it came out.
Oh, what did you think about the movie compared to your experience?
I definitely did not have that experience. I did not see the super duper wealthy people. You might have classes with some people though. But yeah, the food that they were having, they showed a lot of the different really touristy places that you can go to. I did take one of those tour buses the first week I was there, which was actually kind of fun just to go around and see what was out there. But yeah, most of what was going, apparently the really beautiful house that the grandma lives in that was actually filmed in Malaysia. But yeah, it was funny that came out just at the same time.
I'm trying to think of any other questions. Do you wish you had known something, or is something like sticking in your mind that you want to share with the students that are going?
One thing that I'm really disappointed that I didn't do was in my classes, it is very difficult. I found that in a lot of my friends who were exchange students had a really hard time getting to know people who were Singaporean. And that's because it's a very small country. A lot of people go into college with a large group of friends already. Find that they're not really interested in getting to know people, like other people or any of the exchange students, because I mean, we're only there for a semester or so. So I really wish I had pushed myself more to get involved in different clubs and getting to know people better. And I wish I had taken classes that had focused more on maybe group projects or forced you into situations where you really had to interact with people. That's why I think the class I liked the most was my Malay class, because I was the only exchange student in that class and I really got to know some other people. And I think I wish I spent a lot of weekends just traveling. I set my schedule up so that I didn't have classes on Mondays or Fridays. So I had a lot of free time. But I wish I had spent more time just exploring Singapore, because I think there is a lot. It's a beautiful country. There's so much to see just while you're there. So don't get ahead of yourself and try to travel all over the place. Like, take the time to really enjoy where you are and explore the city.
Can you describe your dorm room, where it was located, if you had a roommate?
Yeah, so I was in U-Town, I think it was called. And it was mostly exchange students. I had 3 other roommates. One was from Finland, one was from Italy, and the other one was from Germany. And the girl who was from Finland, we are still really, really close friends. You can't really cook in there. It's very, very difficult. Let's see. Yeah, there's a little living area, and then there's the 4 bedrooms off of that, and then there's another area with the bathroom. So there's a toilet on one side, and then there's the shower on the other side. Let's see. And there's a lot of like little supermarkets all around campus, actually. So you can buy little snacks and stuff. What else? You can, I brought my own bed sheets, but I think you can buy things it's not hard to buy things while you're there. Like I said, they have so many exchange students, they're ready for you. So if you forget anything, they can really help you out. What else? It's hot. It is extraordinarily hot, and very, very humid. So be prepared for that. Yeah.
Any classroom cultural differences or any cultural things that you wish you had known before you had gotten there? Or anything like that?
Let's see.
I asked me like formality in the classroom.
Yeah, right. Honestly, it was
Down.
there wasn't, it was very similar to how it is here. I was expecting it to be very, very formal and it to be very different, but there was no difference to how my classes are here. Like, be respectful, but it's not, yeah, just use your common sense, be respectful. Don't do things that you wouldn't do here, for sure.
Well, thank you, Andrea. I know I learned something. It helps me clarify things too, because I know I've mentioned that internship thing in the past.
Yeah.
So
I said that. I can't believe I completely forgot that happened.
all right. Well,
yeah,
thank you for your time. It's good to catch up with you.
Yeah, thank you for talking to me. That was nice. Yeah, like I said, you have my email, so if there are any questions or when they go abroad and they run into anything, I'm here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.